fact that the European teams, for example, the South American teams are playing many more games, both at club level and at national team level. They've been exposed to some scenarios where they are chasing games. They've been exposed to scenarios where they are 2-0 up. Again, I go back to the question, how many of our players within Africa have had that exposure?
Well, that argument can fly out of the window if you look at how the tournament unfolded. But can it be used as an excuse for why Senegal threw away a comfortable cushion against Belgium, or why Egypt chalked a 2-goal lead only to see Messi's Argentina crush their hearts in their dying minutes?
I agree, but you don't book a ticket to the World Cup just to make up the numbers. You go there to bring the trophy home. Africa made history by sending an unprecedented 10-team contingent to the expanded tournament. But the final report card leaves a very bittersweet taste in the mouth.
Exactly, some heavyweights fell short of their ceiling. Take the Democratic Republic of Congo, for example. They had England completely on the ropes, only to lose their tactical discipline late in the second half and suffer at the hands of a hurricane brace.
On the flip side, we also had the real giant killers like Cape Verde making a massive statement. However, let's be brutally honest here. Before a ball even was kicked, off-the-pitch drama and administrative chaos severely sabotaged some of our camps.
The South American teams, the teams from Europe, of course, they pride themselves on minimizing all the off-field distractions. They want to nip them in the bud as soon as possible because they know that these things affect performance.
The Black Stars of Ghana, the Teranga Lions of Senegal, and Morocco's Atlas Lions, as well as South Africa's Bafana have all gained invaluable tournament experience here in 2026. Now the question is, can they dust themselves off and come back stronger?
And with the 2030 World Cup set to be held in part on Moroccan soil, will that finally be the moment when an African nation breaks the ultimate glass ceiling? Can we turn a historic semi-final run into permanent global dominance?
Some of these African players are not used to this kind of environment, even though we have professionals in their midst. But there are some semi-professionals and there are some home-based players who are not used to this kind of environment. How do you make sure they get used to this kind of environment? Get the right infrastructure.
Our players have proven that they can go toe-to-toe with world-class talent on any given day. The fan support is louder than ever before. But how do our national teams actually bridge final gap in late-game management?
That's the tactical breakdown we are dissecting today, right here under the Baobab. Yeah, so Mimi, today we are switching the playbook.
Are we refilling our perspective a little bit?
And of course, refilling our perspective. I like this cup and I like my drink as well.
I know why you like it. Because your picture is on it. I should say, it's incredible, Judge, now that the World Cup, the final whistle has blown for some people, unfortunately.
What do you mean incredible? You know, that was keeping me busy. So what will I be doing?
But we still have other teams, taking part, and it's finalizing in just a few hours.
Yes.
But we have a lot of expectations that maybe the team that you're gunning for now might carry home the trophy. Who knows?
It's coming home, if you ask me. And if you want to know.
What do you mean by home?
I'll tell you later after the show.
So I was just saying that
yes.
I'm glad that everything is now, done and dusted for African teams. I can then repossess the remote control now in the house from my husband.
Oh, come on,
because
Mimi.
he was in charge of it now, so I can go back to watching my normal telenovelas and movies and news and so on.
Oh, come on, the troubles women go through. But of course, the comment section has been absolutely buzzing. Mm-hmm. And just for context, last week we tackled a heavy topic asking whether South African workers' unions can do more to curb xenophobia. Now, the feedback came thick and fast, and
a lot of comments, as always. We had this, it's always been a tradition to always ask the people out there to contribute, because when you contribute, by commenting, you get to see your comments here under the Baobab. You are part of the community. And we have some comments, of course.
Shall I go with this one first?
Yes.
We have T. Kag essay. We say, no one asks whether South Africans are safe from foreigners. These double standards that foreigners are the victims while they do ill things here need to end.
But who is on the streets telling foreigners to go?
It's South Africans.
Good. So we have Mapuru 05U who says that please stop being experts on South Africa because South Africa is busy sorting its own. Therefore, focus on your own countries and stop, think, and look into the mirror. If African foreigners do not understand why they are foreigners in South Africa, and then case closed.
Case closed. Mimi, there is also Joyce Lungu is saying xenophobia against fellow Africans is shameful. We fought colonialism together and now we turn on each other. Politicians who scapegoat migrants are hiding their own failures.
Yeah, I just want to say something very briefly about the person saying that we shouldn't talk about, what's happening in South Africa.
Yes.
If that was the case, we'll not be having the president of South Africa wanting to visit the Ghanaian counterpart,
Definitely.
trying to discuss, also visiting the president of Zimbabwe.
We cannot be muffled. Of course, under the baobab, there is no muffling of any, idea. We have to, even people with divergent views are invited under the baobab so that we can have a discussion, Mimi.
Right.
Yes.
And that comment really cuts through. I mean, the last one that you just read now, it cuts through about, African nationalism and so on.
Yeah.
It cuts through, the discussion that we've been having from the very start and, the coverage that DW has been doing. But today we are pivoting to one language that unites every single corner of the continent.
Football, Mimi.
They always say that if you want a president to take over, just convince the people with football and everything will be sorted. Yeah.
Football is just the best.
And my name is Mimi Mefo Neu. This is Under the Baobab.
And my name is Jojo Kachi. On this show, we take Africa's biggest, heaviest issues and we make them personal.
We do so every Friday of the week.
Yeah.
We demand accountability from policymakers, leaders, and experts shaping our continent. And your voice sits at the center of this table. So please, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, DW Africa, so that you'll be the first. Don't just subscribe, but comment and also share so that your comment will be the first to be featured under the baobab here.
Of course, that is a promise from us, and we will for sure do that. So today, we are doing a complete post-mortem of the 2026 World Cup. We are looking at, tactical errors, the federation blunders, and the exact adjustment, African football can close the performance gap when playing the world stage. But also, we are critically putting FIFA to account. We want to ask, the questions and the concerns that have arisen, as to how the football world governing body has been, operating.
I like it that you've called it post-mortem,
yes.
Because I remember even before the tournament, we were so excited and we even had a fake cup in front of us, hoping that the real one was going to come under the baobab. But unfortunately, we are not going to be having the cup here under the baobab.
Yes.
We are not taking it back to the continent. But let's move to our guest. Today, he is the perfect man for the job. His name is Matar Mboge. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Matar Mboge.
Oh, yeah. So he is the Senior Talent Identification Program Manager for Africa at the World Football Governing Body, FIFA's Performance Division. And this division actually holds the master key to grassroots development across the continent. So if they get their structural blueprint right, an African nation lifting the World Cup shouldn't just be a dream. It should be an expectation. What do you think about that, George?
Of course, for me, it remains an expectation and also a dream in some part. But any seasoned pundit or technical director will tell you that winning a World Cup, it isn't just about, having 11 talented players on the pitch. The secret sauce lies in the elite youth academies, pipelines, robust, domestic leagues, cutting-edge sport science, and video analysts who scout, opponents down to their last tactical trigger. You win the tournament in 4 years of preparation, not just, 3 months of preparation or even 6 months of preparation.
Right. And we've been talking about, there's always that difficulty of terrain.
Yes.
You know, there are new things that most players who leave Africa
Yes.
go and discover at the World Cup that they don't get to see even at the local level. And there was a video that was going viral. I mean, sorry for bringing this, but it's very important.
No, tell me the story.
It was a local match, and we could see the referee actually reviewing the VAR, and it became viral because this was something that was not seen every day in Cameroon football. And we're like, if the players were used to that, you know, when they go to the world stage, it's not going to be something new. That just tells us how, I can't say backward, but how unfamiliar some of the happenings at the World Cup could be for some African representatives.
Long way to go.
Right. Yeah. So I also have to confess that I completely fell in love with Cape Verde's style of play during this tournament.
Okay.
You know, I was quite amazed and impressed.
Yeah.
They played with zero fear, advanced through the group stages, and nearly pulled of the shock of the century against Lionel, the almighty GOAT.
Oh, that
Lionel
game,
Messi of Argentina.
That gave me. It was amazing, so to speak. And credit where it's due.
I wish they won.
Yeah, I mean, I also wish they won.
Yeah.
And maybe they could have even lifted the trophy. But credit where it's due. Bautista, the Cape Verde coach, has built an incredible disciplined side. If the Blue Sharks can keep this core, group together, including the goalkeeper who is 40 years old, they are going to be a massive problem in the next AFCON cycle. But what killed me as a fan was watching our teams, African teams, repeatedly throw away winning positions towards the dying minutes.
A lot of missed opportunities there, and it was painful to watch, George. I should say it can't just be a coincidence that Senegal, for instance, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Egypt, all held leads in high-stake knockout games, only to suffer defensive lapses in the final gaps of the match. So when you sat down with Matar to have this conversation, what was the technical assessment of these collapses or lapses that we saw in the tournament?
Let's hear the background straight from the man himself.
I think for us, it's something that within Africa we need to really look at, because it wasn't just one team, was it? It's a trend, and then when it's become 3, 4, 5, it's clearly a pattern. So the fact that the European teams, for example, the South American teams are playing many more games, both at club level and at national team level, they've been exposed to some scenarios where they are chasing games. They've been exposed to scenarios where they are 2-0 up. Now, in terms of if it's not World Cup qualification, if it's not AFCON qualification, where there's so much pressure, of course, on these teams, where are they getting that high level, that high stakes competition? It's down to the players. As coaches, we can have as much influence as we want before the match, during the hydration breaks now, during half time. And if the players have not been exposed to these levels of high competition, of high stakes football, then it's going to be difficult for them to find the memory bank to say, okay, this is what we do in this situation.
So clearly you're saying players in most African teams are not sort of exposed to high-level competitive games. But let's dig deep into FIFA's decision to expand the World Cup, giving African nations more guaranteed spots. And Mboj, critics argue that FIFA is doing so to satisfy political voting blocs rather than addressing performance. How do you respond to that?
No, I cannot speak on political sides, but from a technical point, it's been very, very...
Well, Mboj, I know most FIFA officials like you like evading accountability questions, and you brush them off as politics. But this is what many are saying. Why open up the tournament for more teams if you're not supporting performance development with the billions you are generating?
No, but for us, we don't want to mix the politics. For us, it's all about technical. So you talk about the fact that there are now more teams. So the likes of Cape Verde, the likes of potentially even, let's say, a DR Congo, who came second in their group. Normally, DR Congo would not have qualified for this World Cup because it was only 5 teams and it was only a group winner, and potentially maybe they wouldn't have made the final stages. Well, they wouldn't have. So from a pure technical point of view, that is something that is what we want to celebrate. And for sure, the next time DRC are at the World Cup, next time they qualify, they'll pocket this experience, they'll have it in the bank, and of course we expect them to perform even better than they did at this edition.
Fair enough, but an expanded World Cup means more money in FIFA's account, right? So FIFA says part of the cash generated goes towards talent development schemes. However, the financial gap between European academies and African members associations remain massive, Mboj. So how is FIFA ensuring that the massive profits generated from the World Cups are equitably flowing into grassroots for African talent identification rather than, getting stuck in administrative corruption?
No, I think for the... I can't talk about this. I can't make this, George. This is a leading question. It's, I can only give my personal position. I can't give the position of FIFA.
But Mboj, you are the Senior Talent Identification Program Manager for Africa at FIFA's High Performance Division. What is your personal position on the concern being raised by our followers?
For my personal position, sure, the development has to also translate into what we see in academies and infrastructure. From my personal viewpoint, we do have to get to a point where we are seeing the investment reflected in infrastructure. It also needs to reflect in the investment in staff, admin, support staff around academies. It's not just technical support that's needed. There's also holistic and academic, psychological investment that needs to also be taken care of.
Clearly, you don't want to speak for FIFA, and this is well understood. But there have been historical accountability questions regarding how member associations manage development funds. As a senior manager for Africa, what strict, transparent metrics do you use to ensure FIFA's high-performance investments are actually reaching youth scouts and, local pitches, rather than just being mismanaged by local federations?
For us, it's just making sure that procedure follows, there's good governance, there's a lot of planning that goes on behind the scenes before projects commence from my side. And then as it's gone on, as we've continued, so far so good. We've been able to make sure that the plans and the objectives that we set out are also being implemented on the ground. We work as a team to ensure that the activity plans, the budgets that the countries that we work with, that they submit, that we approve them, that they are viable, that they're sustainable. Because I think one of the issues that we have is that countries, they want to do a lot and they're given a budget and the budget can potentially be exhausted in a short space of time. But for us, we want to make sure that funds that are provided and projects that we support are sustainable.
So clearly, Mimi, you've heard Mboj speaking to us, and this is typical with, it's more of like, a rehearsed response. If you speak to any FIFA official, and they would always, hide behind the rule book. And they say FIFA desists, commenting on politics,
right,
even if it is an accountability question. Yes.
But I like the fact that you actually try to press him on that, and you could hear him actually saying that the money that FIFA is disbursing to these various, federations, to these various federations,
yes,
right?
Federations, yeah.
Yeah, federations, that it should be reflected not just, in terms of football, but the academic level also has to be developed. There's also psychological, development that is needed.
Yes.
It means that he is not satisfied with what is being done so far.
The problem is the one, heading the division that should be doing this. He is responsible
but
so to speak.
But you can see that he is not 100% satisfied with the money that is being disbursed and how the money that is disbursed is managed,
Yes.
and also the outcome of, the trainings in the different teams across Africa.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to just ask is the huge amount of money that
Yes.
FIFA gets
Yes.
from competitions like the World Cup. Like this World Cup, for instance, FIFA has just announced that they'll be making, I think, about 70% more than what they were able to, make in the previous World Cup. Where do they channel this money, and how do they ensure that there is follow-up so that the various confederations get to benefit from the money that is disbursed by FIFA?
There are claims, and if you ask the officials, there are claims that this money is this cash, finds its way to the federations. FIFA is one of the powerful associations in the world, even more stronger than the UN. It has 211 members, and from the 211 members, they are, hold up in sort of, federations like, Africa. We have the CAF, which has its membership represented within FIFA. So FIFA naturally channels this amount to these federations. But
powerful, but no oversight.
There is no oversight, and
even though there are committees, there are internal ethics committees in FIFA. There are also committees like the Court of Arbitration for Sports.
Yes.
There are so many committees within FIFA itself that should be able to regulate the activities of the president
They talk about
himself.
self-regulating.
How can you self-regulate yourself, Judge? Does it even
It doesn't really make sense. And even looking at how the formation of FIFA itself, it is formed as, a non-profit making organization.
But making a lot of money.
Making billions, maybe, billions. You're talking about close to 13 billion, US dollars. And these are questions many people are asking for sure.
Right. So we look at the FIFA president himself. We are talking about Gianni Infantino.
Yeah.
He's dodging a lot of questions about, the Somali referee Omar that was stopped from entering the United States
him to say something.
of America, denied entry because of visa issues and immigration. Immigration should be allowed to, do its job, but also not, where does FIFA come in to also put its feet on the ground and say, this is an international competition, and FIFA also has the right to, to overturn some of the immigration decisions for
or even intervene
for
if
some
not
countries.
overturn,
We saw that with the Ghanaian player when it came to Canada. We also have this controversy that has to do with the U.S. president and FIFA not being objective with the American player. Maybe you should tell us more about what happened.
I don't want to even speak about it. Florian Balogun's red card and Trump even bragging that, I called them and the committee made a good decision and the red card was overturned.
But the FIFA president says his hands are clean.
I mean, let's concentrate on the football, put away politics around football. Let's just watch the game. And it has been, this cycle.
So the World Football Governing Body, there's a lot of question around, its own credibility when it comes to, protecting those who are participating in the World Cup. We had a lot of things that happened in this 2026 the World Cup with the Somali referee that was not allowed entrance into the U.S. because of visa issues. The immigration, it's allowed to do its job. But then I'm also questioning, why should the FIFA president also be silent?
Yeah, I mean, according to his response, he said, and that's very clear, that they cannot intervene in immigration issues of, the host nations. So it was like, hands off, that is not our responsibility.
But this is someone, it's not just an ordinary person, a spectator.
Yes.
This is someone that is very, very significant when it comes to the tournament.
And of course,
including what happened with Canada. This is the US. This is also Canada. And also this is the US president being said to have, spoken with the FIFA president with regards to a red card that was handed to a player. So there's also this political meddling when it comes to FIFA decision. There's also this political game that is at play here, and it puts to question the credibility and transparency of FIFA itself.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, it's a very powerful body, football association. But that's why, of course, even as much as they self-regulate, that's why, it's important for us to have these conversations. And I'm lucky that we are under the baobab, where we hold, people to account. We part of, people bring out these conversations so that people can ask these particular questions directly to FIFA.
And talking about hard questions, we try to tone it down a little bit by, slowing down the conversation and getting to know our guests on a personal level. And this is where we get to relax under the baobab with the rapid fire question segment.
What was the first football jersey you ever owned?
Liverpool Football Club.
Who was your childhood football idol?
John Barnes.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
And what is the single greatest match in the 2026 World Cup for you?
Mexico, England. Mexico 2, England 3.
If you could replay one match from your coaching career, which one would it be?
We had a final against Senegal, so as a Gambian to play Senegal and beat them, that never gets old.
And what is your favorite way to kill time on long flights across the continent?
I actually like to look at the maps, sort of just look at a country and you say, okay, I want to find out more about that country, and then you go through the...
Well, since you like checking on maps, what is the most beautiful hidden gem or tourist spots you've discovered in Africa?
Hidden gem, I would look at, I'd say Zanzibar in Tanzania. Yeah, that's what I would say is the hidden gem for me.
Which African city has the absolute best food?
Good question, and I have to be fair. The time I was in Durban, South Africa, it was unmatched.
What song or artist is at the top of your playlist right now?
Thames is actually the one that comes up all the time.
And if you weren't working in football, what career would you have chosen?
Probably acting.
Well, your dreams are still valid. In one word, what is the secret to spotting a future superstar?
Resilience. Professional sport, you are having mishaps, you're having failures, you have to deal with adversity every single day. If you don't have the resilience, then you will not make it to the top.
So welcome back to the pitch. If you are just tuning in, we are doing a deep dive post-mortem into how our 10 African representatives performed at the World Cup. Yeah. He's not also telling us the role of FIFA and the role of his, his office.
Leg division, yeah.
Right, in ensuring that these issues are checked before African countries even go to the tournament. We are talking about 10 teams that went to the world stage.
That was unprecedented, yeah.
Yeah, a record-breaking number, of course, from Africa. And yet, we have the same old story. We didn't even go beyond the quarterfinal stage.
I'm mad about that.
It's quite a disappointment. Every year, we are just hoping and crossing our fingers that this could be that year. And we end up having the same results.
Yeah, but tell you what, we can have our opinions, we can, talk, largely about what happened, but because this is under the baobab, we took to the streets and asked the continent's most passionate pundits, who are the fans, a simple question. How do we finally seal the performance gaps? Here is what they told us, and they told our correspondent, Aminata Sanyang.
Well, to me, I think is the investment aspect of it. They need to invest a lot in our African leagues to make it competitive to a level where African teams or African players will not struggle when they get into the upper leagues in Europe.
If they can build on the consistency in the sense that we've seen Senegal, defeating Belgium up to around 80-something minutes and they capitulated. So if they can build on those kind of things with the administrative issues, because Senegal's case has more to do with the administrative lapses than the talent and the performance. I think one day Africa will win the World Cup, judging from what we've seen, in the World Cup. Argentina with, arguably the biggest or the world best footballer, Messi, you take them up to 80-something minutes, the same problem. So it has to do with consistency, and also infrastructure will come back there. Some of these African players are not used to this kind of environment, even though we have professionals in their midst. But there are some semi-professionals and there are some home-based players who are not used to this kind of environment. How do you make sure they get used to this kind of environment? Get the right infrastructure.
Please, can you just... Can we review our perspective a little bit? So that is the...
Don't get shocked.
That's the final whistle for today's show. The ultimate takeaway for me is talent will get you to the tournament, but the tactical discipline and elite governance are what it takes to win the trophy.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And before we walk off the pitch, a massive shout out to our incredible community who completely drove last week's heated debate. And you are absolutely the heartbeat of Under the Baobab.
Indeed, you are the heartbeat of Under the Baobab. So your perspective sits right at the center of this table. Drop your tactical takes below. We are keen to read your comments. What do you think about Africa's participation at the just ended World Cup? The role of FIFA, FIFA regulating itself. Yes. What do you think about it? And what could be done to make things better for everyone?
Yes, key thing to take home is that we see you, we hear you, we can challenge you as well. We want you to challenge us. And all this will be in contribution to the conversations that we are having on this table. So tell us straight, how can African national teams permanently fix the performance gaps that were evident during this particular World Cup?
So for more honest, raw, unfiltered conversations on politics, society, and sports, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, GW Africa, so that you can always get the latest.
Yes, you can also catch the full audio episode and the versions of this particular show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next week, keep the conversation alive under your own baobab tree. I am Jojo Kachi.
My name is Mimi Mefoneu. Catch you next week. Bye. Cheers.
I knew you would do that.